Back now with the Mighty Manfred and Little Steven's Underground Garage, and we are coming up on today's coolest conversation. Yeah, I'm going to be talking with Vern Shank of the Cherry Drops, but before we get to the phone, let's hear the Cherry Drops' latest, their coolest song of the week, Out of Sight. This is the Mighty Manfred, and it's time to get your coolest conversation of the day underway. And right now, I've got Vern Shank from the Cherry Drops on the line. Hey, Vern.
What's up? What's up, my brother?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How's everything in the world of Little Steven and the Mighty Manfred?
I have to say, man, it is going really great now that I'm down with the Cherry Drops.
Love it.
Because Vern not only is Out of Sight the coolest song of the week, but it is just plain out of sight.
I love it, man. Love it.
What can you tell me about the song?
Yeah, well, the song came about, basically it was the last song that we wrote for the album, and we thought we were done with the album, but we said, you know what, this album is kind of out of sight. And it was a 60s kind of term, as you can remember, that the old, when everything was cool and everything was good, it was out of sight. So we figured we'd top it off with that song, and ended up we liked it so much, it became sort of the lead-off track from our release, Everything's Groovy. It's kind of a straightforward rock and roll party anthem of the summer. So being that summer is still kind of here, and I just thought it was a great song for our first release.
So you got Out of Sight. You mentioned the title of the album, Everything's Groovy. So to you, is it set in the 60s?
It's set in the late 60s, also into the 70s when some of the power pop stuff would have came in. So we're kind of like frozen in time, like Austin Powers was in a way. We're a band that the old plane went down over Greenland. We got encased in an iceberg and it cracked open, and here we are trying to figure out what year it is. So it's 60s and 70s. And
you got Evan Foster on the album, and we know him here in the Underground Garage as being like the main guy, the main creative force, the front man, lead guitar player, lead vocalist of the Boss Martians from Seattle, Washington. So how did you hook up with him? You guys didn't go up to Seattle? Did he come to you? What happened?
Evan and I have been friends for about 14 years. I was a fan of the Boss Martians and was introduced to him about 13 years ago by a mutual friend who owns a music label. We both happen to currently be on the same label, or were on the same label. And Evan and I just kind of struck up a good friendship. We've talked for so many years about music in general, and it just came time to do this song, and I just wanted an outstanding guitar player to feature on this, romp-roaring track, and the first person that came to my mind was Evan, and the guy's a tour de force of guitar and just a great talent, and I just thought that if he can add another dimension to our first release, our first single, Evan would be the man. Plus, as you know, his band, the Boss Martians, and everything. Beyond that, he's a power pop meister himself, and he digs the 60s and 70s sounds as well. And I just thought he was a perfect fit. Being one, a friend, and two, just a great musician. I just thought he would add a lot to our release, and so he became cartoonized as part of the Cherry Drops band here. And you might see the front album cover that has him as well drawn.
He's standing on the amp there, right?
Yeah, that, by the way, Manfred, that was drawn by Sue Buellenberg of The Simpsons and King of the Hill fame. So I thought I might drop that. Hello, Sue Buellenberg, if you're listening.
I'd say, the album, too, has got almost kind of an Archie's feel. There's like a fun sugar pop kind of Archie's feel to parts of the record. How do you feel about the Archies?
Yeah, the Archies are we're highly influenced by them. As silly as it may seem, that whole bubblegum movement, the Partridge Family and all. And I actually spoke with Ron Dante on several occasions, most recently a few weeks ago. And he's digging it, and he gave us kind of the thumbs up. In fact, our album cover was inspired by the Archies and Scooby-Doo and all, if you might notice the album cover. But I believe that the bubblegum sound still to this day is still that power pop sound mixed in with, bubblegum power pop. It all spawned off for me when Brian Wilson did Good Vibrations, taking that whole harmony thing to the next level. The bubblegum sound came out of that, I believe, and then just continued onward with power pop into the 70s and the more crunchier chords. But the Archies, to me, mixes with the Beach Boys, mixes with the Raspberries, with the Sweet. It's all kind of that Queen, Cheap Trick. It all kind of blends in a blender, and when you put that in and it comes out, it's the sound of the cherry drops.
Oh man, that is excellent. How can we find you guys online?
Yes, you can find us at several ways. Obviously, the normals. You can find us on Facebook /The Cherry Drops, thecherrydrops.com. We're also available on Reverb Nation. We're also available on SoundCloud as well, and of course iTunes and all the outlets like that. We are available to be found there as well.
Oh man, Vern, thanks so much for talking to me this afternoon, having the coolest conversation of the day with me. Going to be digging on the cherry drops the rest of the summer.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know why this conversation is cool? Because I'm talking to you, Mighty Manfred, and it doesn't get any cooler than that. Doesn't get any cooler than that.
Oh man, well, I tell you, I'm down with the cherry drops. In fact, I'm going to pop till I drop.
Right on.
I said a pop till you drop.
Pop till you drop. That was indeed the Cherry Drops off their album Everything's Groovy. Thanks again to Vern, Shank of the band for having today's coolest conversation with me. And now we're looking forward to next week's coolest conversation. Join me when I'm chatting with Brian Ray of the Bayonettes. This is Little Steven's Underground Garage on Sirius XM.